Hello and welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday. Talk about some good old fashioned wrestling at 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time. So without further ado, hope you guys had an amazing Monday. I know it's Monday, it tends to, drag on, maybe on and on and on, professional wrestling is there to take us all the way. We got Monday Night Raw. We have Tuesday. On today, we have a special edition of AEW Dynamite titled Tuesday, which is pretty cool. We have Wednesday. We have our Thursday with Ring of Honor, TNA. Of course, we have SmackDown. So it's kind of gets you through the day, getting ready for your football or your college football, whatever you prefer to call it. College football or the NFL. I prefer the NFL. The NFL is there. It's wild and out this season. It's absolutely crazy. And baseball playoffs, the WNBA, the Aces were eliminated. I can't believe that. Oh, obviously they're Becky Hammon, the former assistant coach for Greg Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs. She had a chance at a three-peat, and it was to the fact where every single time you put on any kind of sports media, is that all you heard was about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, which is good for the future of the WNBA. But at the same time, I was like, hey, where's the love for the Las Vegas Aces? It's kind of crazy. Once again, hope you guys had a great Monday. Hope you guys had an amazing Tuesday. It is Tuesday, and just gonna reflect on what we're gonna talk about during this show. We're going to talk about our WWE Monday Night Raw review. Going to give you guys my hot takes after the first 2 hour show of Monday Night Raw. And honestly, it was kind of exactly what I was thinking. It kind of seemed a little meshed together. A little bit. It's but we'll get into it in a little bit. All right, my second segment, we're gonna talk about some WWE NXT. I'm gonna preview the episode. Obviously, it's airing right now. Can't wait to watch it on the CW. I'm so used to saying the on the USA Network. But so we're gonna see that on the CW. I'm also going our third segment. We're gonna talk about AEW Title Tuesday, which should be pretty badass. And then we're gonna talk about The Rock, what's his future. And on SmackDown, we're gonna go through a number of potential storylines that could land the final boss. And then our fifth and final segment, something we do on every Tuesday. I take you into my DeLorean, gun it to 88 miles per hour, go back in time and talk about this day of October 8th. Back in the day, talk about some awesome wrestling moments that happened, some birthdays and stuff like that. So yeah, let's go and do it. But before we do any of that, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that super chat. Should be, be awesome. Hit up the super chat, 1,010%. Obviously, if you have a burning question or hot take in terms of professional wrestling, make sure you guys use that super chat. Or if you're just dying to just get something off your chest. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we are absolutely all ears, 1,010%. It's all about keeping the conversation lively, making sure your voice is part of the mix, so don't be shy. Drop those thoughts inside that chat. And if you really, really, really want to make sure your comment, question, or concern gets noticed on the show, just hit that $ below the chat box. Send in your message. It's guaranteed to be featured on the show. Plus, it's a great way to keep supporting the channel, the GSMC Sports Network. Also, it's a great way to kind of keep all these awesome, podcasts to bring you guys exclusive, breathtaking, groundbreaking, breaking news content coming at you, Monday through Friday. So make sure you guys, support the channel. We are absolutely super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here daily on the GSMC Sports Network. You make all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep this party going. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together, we will make sure this show is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. But before we do, any of that, just make sure, you hit up that thumbs up, Superman punch that, subscribe, and follow button to the network. You guys get awesome, podcasts from baseball to basketball to football to professional wrestling, which landed you guys here today. So don't be afraid to show us a little love. And once again, if the super chat is not your thing, we are still live at the gsmcpodcast.net. Hit that up. Hit up the tips and donations link. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Once again, Superman punch that. Like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1,010% of the time, but criticism is all a part of the game. That's what sports is all about. That's what we love about sports. So, feedback is a gift. So don't be, don't be too shy. Go and be part of the mix. All right, so we're going to talk about some WWE Monday Night Raw. It was pretty damn. It was pretty great. All in all, for its first 2 hour show, I thought it was absolutely I thought it was what it was. You know what I mean? Sexy Red started off the show, obviously from Atlanta. It was supposed to be a big deal, but when they announced her name, the fans didn't really give a lot of I guess a lot of mutual respect. She's recently been exclusive toward WWE NXT. I honestly don't really see the value of bringing Sexy Red to professional wrestling, but of course, value. It's all about the money. So once again, WWE likes to kind of bring their stars, especially like hometown heroes. I know recently Sexy Red has kind of been involved in a couple of scandals and stuff like that. So obviously, don't really want to touch that. Not really going to get into it, but so then, they had a review of what happened on WWE Bad Blood. CM Punk came hobbling out, which was kind of crazy. He came out talking like he was going to retire. Absolutely said he was unsure of his future, thanking the fans, once again hinting at a hiatus, and he's going to be gone. He's going to be gone for quite some time. I ultimately thought this would be best for him. You know, when to see him? When is Drew McIntyre coming back to WWE Raw? Could be quite some time as well. He was not on this show, so a lot of time for WWE to kind of focus on. What are we doing with the Wyatt Sicks on Raw? What are we doing with Xavier Woods? What are we doing with the Final Testament? The Miz's new, you know, his new rejuvenated career coming back as a single star. Also, the Wyatt Six. What's going to happen with them? The Judgment Day. I'm not sure. I'm not if I mentioned the White Six already, but I think this is perfect. You're gonna have CM Punk and Drew McIntyre take a break, and then once when they come back, and probably, CM Punk was talking about like 5 to 6 weeks. I feel like that's ideal for Brawl Superstars when they come back. It will be roughly after Survivor Series, heading toward Royal Rumble season, which is a WrestleMania season. So I think it's gonna be great. I like that they both, taking a hiatus. But of course, you have to mention the disrespect that Seth Rollins showed coming out when CM Punk was, kind of pouring his heart out to the WWE Universe, looking him dead straight in the eye with his sunglasses, shoulder checks him, and then basically saying how he should get well soon. The sooner you come back is the sooner I can retire your ass for good. I thought that was actually pretty cool. I thought that was pretty funny. Definitely Seth freaking Rollins has the crowd behind him. Would be kind of cool to kind of see them go head to head to find out to kind of push the WWE universe to kind of not to like choose, because I feel like nowadays within professional wrestling, you don't really have that signature heel that it was back in like the Attitude Era or way before that. Now you kind of have these heels being cheered for, like, you know what I mean? So kind of creates a lot of controversy among fans, among the squared circle between the superstars participating inside the storyline, which is great because it's not like someone's getting booed the whole time. The fans are into it. The fans are into it 1,010%. Having a clear, hardcore discrepancy where the heel is so far this way and the baby face is so far this way, to the point where, if the heel's kicking ass, like the fans are into it and to a certain extent. But like when you kind of have them here in the middle, like of the blur lines between reality and fiction, it just makes something. It just makes it better. It just makes it better. You know what I mean? So once again, Seth Rollins bidding good news, bidding CM Punk to get well soon so he can go back and retire himself. And then of course, he said Seth Rollins wants to challenge Bronson Reed. Jey Uso returned the favor by interrupting Seth Rollins once again. Seth leaves the ring, and then we had the match between Jey Uso and Xavier Woods for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Right away, you saw, when Xavier Woods came out, when he was introduced in the middle of the ring as a challenger, he got a lot of mixed reactions. Got a lot of mixed reactions from the fans. I thought it was, kind of the perfect way to kind of segue his next move into a baby, not into a heel, because they were kind of flirting with him staying the baby face slash, maybe flirting with becoming the bad guy. But just that reaction in itself from the fans just shows that I think Xavier Woods is next to kind of fall on that wagon of the heels. You saw members of the New Day achieve a single star success. Kofi Kingston, Big E, winning the WWE Championship, but Xavier is probably going to do it. Well, I don't know. It's so stiff competition nowadays. He'd be the first ever New Day member to win as a heel because Kofi did it as Kofi Mania, Big E. They all did it as good guys. So Xavier Woods kind of pushing out boundaries. I think he'd be an amazing heel. I think it'd be pretty great. So then you saw Uso land a splash for the win. Xavier Woods didn't want to shake his hand after the match. Kofi Kingston once again kind of disappointed in his partner. Braun Breaker out of nowhere attacks Jey Uso. Kofi Kingston had a little bit of a dilemma talking to Xavier Woods, being like, hey, we should go inside and help Jey Uso. Obviously, we have a lot of respect for him because we were fighting in the tag team division, going at it. They were part of this kind of like this new age tag team, kind of like the Hardys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudley Boys. And then you have the New Day taking on the Usos. Back and forth, constant title changes between the two tag teams. So there was a mutual respect that Kofi Kingston wanted to go out there and attack Braun Breaker to kind of, have Jey Uso's back. But to much of, Xavier Woods' chagrin, he helped, Kofi went out to help him anyways and got speared. Woods got him out of there, obviously disagreeing with what Kofi had done, maybe just adding more fuel to the fire to this breakup. So, I never really wanted to accept it. I didn't want to accept it. I didn't want to accept it for the New Day breaking up, but as of right now, there's so much stuff that has happened, so much turmoil, and like I said, Xavier Woods, going out of the New Day to achieve single star success as a heel in terms of as opposed to a babyface like Kofi and Big E has done. You know, I'm for it. You know what I mean? I feel like Xavier Woods, he's still young. He's in his prime. And I'm pretty sure right now he's kind of like, you know what? Big E on the fence of returning. Kofi, a little seasoned. Now it's time for Xavier Woods to kind of branch out. Kind of like, when you had Seth Rollins leave the Shield, where you had to have that one guy to kind of go beyond extremes, kind of go behind the WWE Universe. People trust him. Fans want to see him stay with the New Day, but he just wants to win. He wants it's nothing personal. And that's something that I feel like this storyline will exuberate ultimately, that it's nothing personal. He still loves Kofi Kingston. He still loves Big E, which is important for WWE if you want to have a New Day reunion down the line, to kind of have Xavier Woods not totally go full heel, but to kind of be like, you know what, Kofi, like, I just want to go my separate ways, man. No disrespect to you. No disrespect to all the other superstars, to Rey Mysterio, which I accidentally put off his mask. I was frustrated after I got the loss. I didn't want to shake Jey Uso's hand. So it's, nothing personal. I just want to do me, which would be perfect for WWE. I don't want to see a Kofi Kingston, brutal attack, blood everywhere. I don't want to see that. I think at that point, in terms of tag team partners turning on each other, I think that's more or less in the past. You've seen it done with, the whole Shawn Michaels and Barney Jannetty, which was a good example of how it could work. But that was wrestling back in the day. Wrestling back in the day, there was so much discrepancy between the heel and the babyface, to the point where I was like, all right, this is normal. But nowadays with social media, Xavier Woods live on social media, I think Austin Creed, also, with Kofi Kingston, with a lot of wrestling stars, kind of telling their side of the story, being their own public relations kind of person. It's a new digital age of professional wrestling, that you can manipulate social media to ultimately get fans on your side, and then as opposed to your opponent, who can get fans on their side as well. So I just don't want to see, because I feel like ultimately that would hurt Xavier Woods' singles career if he absolutely goes ape shit. Oh, sorry, ape crap all over, Kofi Kingston, beating him to a bloody pulp. I ultimately feel like that would be, that'd be kind of bad. You know what I mean? But it's kind of crazy. Next, we have Sheamus defeating Pete Dunne in a Donnybrook match. I thought it was pretty awesome. It was a great battle. Sheamus was able to pick up the victory, even though he was handcuffed by zip ties. The Miz targets is going to be targeted by the Wyatt Sicks. It's clear that he's the one that they want. He's fighting against R-Truth next week. He broke up. What's going to happen? Miz is going to have to seek he's going to have to seek alliance amongst the Final Testament, which is exactly what Karrion Kross wants. So you're going to have Karrion Kross, AOP, teaming up together with the Miz, to take on the Wyatt Sicks, and it's it's going to be a good match. I think it's going to be an amazing match. All right, we had the 10-woman tag team match, the Unholy Union, teaming up with Pure Fusion Collective, and then you saw the winners, Natalia, Katana Chance, Kaden Carter, and Selena Vega. Oh, Lyra Valkyrie pick up the victory, which is pretty cool. Lyra Valkyrie, sorry, excuse me. Which I kind of thought it was going to happen. Once again, you're seeing the PFC, the Pure Fusion Collective, seem kind of weak, which is not really how I intended this group to kind of be. I thought they were going to be an absolute bombshell. I thought they were going to just rack up the championships. They're going to rack up, the women's WWE World Champ, but obviously that doesn't seem like that's on their, to-do list. So it should be interesting to find out how WWE books these three girls moving forward. And lastly, we have Sami Zayn losing against Gunther. It was a well-fought match. Sami Zayn was a fighting champion, but of course, was put to sleep. Never really tapped out. Never, it ended in no decision. Sami Zayn never quit. Never really was pinned. So, Gunther, but showing exactly what I kind of thought was going to happen is you're going to have Sami Zayn go out there and give a valiant effort. Sami Zayn's going to move on. Gunther is going to fight Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel at the at the end of the month. So it should be pretty interesting to find out what happens next. All right, guys. So hey, do not go anywhere. We talked about Monday. Sorry, excuse me. We talked about Monday Night Raw. Now we're going to talk about some WWE NXT. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here in about 25 seconds.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time. We're here to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling, all the action inside and out, backstage news, curtain drama. We also talk about WWE, AEW, New Japan Professional Wrestling. If it makes major news headlines in terms of the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show, 1,010%. We talk about superstars, inactive statuses, also injury updates, the contract negotiations, extensions, or new signings. So yeah, if you're really into wrestling, right here's the perfect start to become a wrestling fan. Tune into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. All right, before we move on to our next segment, we're going to talk about some WWE NXT. Before we do any of that, I want to remind you guys, if you have a burning question or a hot take in terms of professional wrestling, or just something you've been dying to get off your chest, here at the GSMC Sports Network, we are all ears. We are all about keeping the conversation lively, making sure your voice is part of the mix, so don't be shy. Drop your thoughts inside that chat box. And if you really want to make sure your comment, question, or concerns gets noticed on the show, why not use that super chat? It's $sign below the chat box. Just go ahead and hit that up. And whatever you put down inside that box is going to be featured on the show so we can have a nice little back and forth, friendly debate about it. It's going to be featured on the show. Also, it's a great way to support our channel, support the GSMC Sports Network. So all this amazing content, there's other podcasts besides the WWE or besides the Wrestling Laureate podcast. We have, football, basketball, college football, many sports podcasts. So make sure you support those guys by adding to the super chats or super stickers, whatever however you like to prefer, to keep this content that you guys love going. So, coming at you guys Monday through Friday. So, make sure you guys donate. It's pretty awesome. We are super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here daily on the GSMC Sports Network. Your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep this party going. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make sure this podcast is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. And once again, if the super chats are not your thing, you can still hit up the gsmcpodcast.net. Shoot me your comments, questions, and concerns. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Just remember to Superman punch that like a subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1,010% of the time. But of course, criticism is all part of the game in terms of talking sports, especially in terms of talking professional wrestling. So feedback is a gift. So don't be shy. Drop your thoughts inside that chat, or just give me a friendly shout out of where you're listening from today. 1,010%. All right, so let's go and move on to our WWE NXT preview. Going to be live in St. Louis. Should be pretty awesome. We're going to obviously see Trick Williams address the NXT Universe. The new NXT champion, Trick Williams, is by all means one of the best talents I've seen in NXT for, in quite some time. And, I'm not trying to, throw shade at all the new people like drafted, like Ilya Dragunov, Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes. He's just, I don't know, he's just different. He's kind of that guy that NXT should probably want to keep on top of their roster. If WWE, SmackDown, or Raw wants to draft them, be like, you know what? Guess what? No, that's not going to happen. And, in terms of the draft, I feel like this year NXT is going to probably get a say as well. NXT is not that kind of the minor leagues, kind of the minor league developmental, kind of area. Although it does serve a purpose like that, obviously. But with this new, deal with the CW, plus you're going out there and you're going to try to sell out arenas, you're going to have top stars. So, and Triple H Paul Levesque even said himself in an interview saying that NXT is becoming its own brand. You know what I mean? It's not really going to be, like I said, not really like going to be a developmental territory for SmackDown or Raw. So, Trick Williams, I feel like he's there to stay. I really would hate if WWE would take Trick Williams out of NXT, because I feel like that'd be A, bad for WWE NXT, B, bad for Trick Williams, and C, bad for WWE as a whole. Sure, the NXT is branching out and being its own entity, but at the same time, it's still your revenue, dude. It's still your show. It's still your Jones, homie. So at the same time, you kind of have to take care of it. You got to coddle it. You got to, that's your baby. Especially Triple H. Triple H used to be in Shawn Michaels' shoes. He used to be the CEO of NXT, and which was probably the best era of NXT that I've ever watched. So now we have a two-time Trick Williams champion addressing the WWE Universe. It's going to be interesting to find out what he has to say. Interesting to see if All Ego Ethan Page will demand, a rematch. He has a rematch clause. I did see I did see All Ego Ethan Page on Monday Night Raw, and just seeing him backstage and the way he kind of ultimately presents himself, I think he kind of belongs on Raw. That would be kind of cool to kind of see that. Seeing him fight against Trick Williams, and I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to be a dapper, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to, diminish the wrestling value that Ethan Page has because he came from AEW. I just ultimately feel like the feud they had was a little, was a little stale. You know what I mean? Like, it was cool because you had that, that 9 to 5 worker kind of guy to go out there. He was family oriented like Trick Williams. Then you had the white collar guy, Ethan Page, that was kind of like, I kind of made a lot of I made a lot of, comparisons So like he reminds me of of a heel or a bad guy you would see on like a Marvel movie or like a DC movie where he would, he dresses the part, he's has a lot, obviously has all ego, and you can't like I don't know, he wants to rule the world. He does everything in his power to win. He does everything in his power to make sure his opponents or the people that oppose him suffer and like watching Trick Williams win the championship last week on the CW, it was cool, and just that magic that Trick Williams had on screen. You saw the fans get into it. I don't see him losing the championship anytime soon. But then again, I don't really see him. I don't really see Ethan Page challenging like guys like Oba Femi for the WWE NXT North American Championship. So tonight, obviously, is a pretty damn big deal. We have an NXT Women's Championship. Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade will speak, finding out if they're going to pursue themselves as tag team competitors. Maybe, perhaps, a little Stephanie McCure also, is going to be, broadcasted tonight. But Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade are expected to kind of be like that Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, or maybe Cora Jade just surprises the hell out of us and is like, you know what? Since I helped you win that championship belt, I want the shot. And now we have Randy Orton. Randy Orton comes to NXT to battle Javon Evans. This should be a good match. This is going to be an amazing match. I know that Javon Evans probably isn't gonna pick up the dub because he's still very young. He still has a lot of room to grow. On WWE NXT, I think Randy Orton's going to win. But at the end of the day, it's gonna be one of those matches where, you know, he loses, but at the same time he kind of wins. Having that experience going out there, also, being in that kind of turmoil of the match and having a lot of physical scrutiny, the physicality also, the mind games that Randy Orton can play inside the squared circle during the match is going to be a great way to show that Javon Evans is indeed maturing as a professional wrestler. So, I think the Vipers are going to pick up the win, but overall, Javon Evans will pick up the respect, which sometimes is, a little bit more important. So it should be pretty interesting. Next, we have a tag team match, and this tag team match is so damn important because this could be possibly the breakup of A-Town Down Under. I think it's time to break them up. Axiom, well, Fraxium, which is kind of crazy. Nathan Frazier and Axiom have been, in my opinion, and I know I have done this over and over and over and over again, constantly betting against them. I thought the OC was going to dethrone them. Chase U obviously did the second time, but the first time I thought they were going to. But these guys are special. These guys aren't going to be taken, as chumps. You had MSK coming out there trying to dethrone them. Didn't really happen. I think the universe of NXT, me myself, definitely, could definitely speak on behalf of this, revelation. I have fallen in love with what Nathan Frazier and Axiom are doing inside the ring. You haven't had an NXT tag team champions, kind of be this way in a long time. And I feel like for WWE to kind of usher in this new era of the NXT on the CW, you kind of have to keep the belts going with Nathan Frazier and Axiom. I don't want to see Grayson Waller win. Austin Theory, I want to see him win in singles competition. But Grayson Waller's a joke. And I'm sorry, and I know it's a hot take alert. Ever since he debuted in WWE, the Grayson Waller effect, yeah, it's cool and everything. Kind of reminds me of like a reboot, younger Australian kind of failure of Y2J, Chris Jericho. He kind of plays that same part. And I don't see this guy really, I feel like maybe he was promoted too quick, maybe. Perhaps that could be the diagnostic or whatever. But Austin Theory is ready. Like I believe he's been inside WWE on the main roster. He has a couple of years, tenure. He was Vince McMahon's last guy. He had the money to bring briefcase, ultimately lost his chance at, cashing in. But this needs to end, for the betterment of both competitors. You need them to end. You need a Grayson Waller to kind of reboot himself as a professional wrestler. The way his character is portrayed right now, I don't like it. I don't think it's going really anywhere. I would like to see him kind of go toward a dark turn, kind of like a heel, which would be perfect. When attacking his partner Austin Theory, and Austin Theory, but he keeps over and over again, he keeps falling for it. Falling for Grayson Waller's apologies. After it all, after it's all said and done, Grayson Waller will blame Austin Theory and all the losses, and you're going to see a nice little feud between those two. But Nathan Frazier and Axiom should be able to retain tonight. Tony D'Angelo challenges Oba Femi for the NXT North American Championship title. Tony D'Angelo admitted to his family that he's scared. It takes a lot of cojones from a man to admit he's scared to compete against another competitor. Oba Femi is absolutely out of this world good, and there was a promo that Tony D'Angelo did with Adriana Rizzo, I think it was, saying, and Adriana Rizzo was like, you know what, Tony, if you lose, it doesn't matter. We're so proud of you. And that's something that Tony D'Angelo really had to hear. I feel like Oba Femi he's too strong. He's too big. He's too over right now. Tony D'Angelo recently coming off of a Heritage Cup championship loss against Charlie Dempsey, thanks to Ren Sinclair of the No Quarter Catch crew. I don't know. I don't really see it happening. I don't really. Tony D'Angelo would be an amazing North American champion, but right now, Oba Femi, it's going to take somebody bigger than Tony D'Angelo. And I'm not saying the dawn of the NXT is, I'm not trying to diminish his value at all on the roster, but overall, it's going to take somebody bigger than big to defeat Oba Femi. And he's going to get that longest reigning NXT North American Championship, reign. So I don't know. It should be interesting to find out how good the match is. It's going to be a great match. It's going to be a great match. But Oba Femi is going to come up the victor and retain the NXT North American Championship. And lastly, we have Keilani Jordan teaming up with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill against Fatal Influence. Once again, this is kind of just a flex. You have the champions are going to destroy the Fatal Influence, kind of a bootleg of the Pure Fusion Collective, which is, not really sad. But, once again, it's kind of like, all right, NXT, you're trying to promote young talent. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, they're too good right now. They're way too over with the WWE to lose anything. Keilani Jordan, it's still, kind of on the fence of, she's an amazing North American Women's Champion by all means. No one's taking that away from her. But at the same time, she's trying to make the title prestigious. It's going to take somebody big to kind of dethrone her as well. I would love to kind of see somebody like the name of maybe Julia, challenges her. Maybe perhaps you have somebody from TNA come to as well, like Ash by Elegance would be pretty badass. But overall, it should be an awesome episode of NXT tonight. So make sure you tune in. All right, guys, now we're going to briefly talk about some AEW Dynamite. It is Title Tuesday. Going to preview. We're going to talk about some of the matches, kind of go through an in-depth analysis. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Here to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling, all the action inside and out. of the ring. We also talk about backstage news drama. We talk about superstar inactive statuses, injury updates. We also talk about their, their contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings for promotions like AEW to WWE, New Japan Professional Wrestling to the CMLL to the National Wrestling Alliance, and of course, game-changing wrestling. Excuse me. Before we get into any of that, just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We had our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We had our WWE NXT preview. Now we're talking about AEW Dynamite Tuesday. Should be pretty cool. Can't wait to can't wait to talk about it. So it's Wednesday. You know what? No, it's not. It's Tuesday. You know what that means. AEW Dynamite is live from the Spokane Arena in Spokane, Washington. And that's right. AEW Dynamite is live tonight. Should be I can't wait to watch it. And we have NXT tonight as well. I honestly have a lot of wrestling to kind of watch and analyze to bring you guys an awesome show for tomorrow. You guys, obviously, if you guys are watching it, jot down some questions, jot down some of your opinions. So tomorrow we can talk about it. Would be pretty badass. Would love that interaction between you guys. First and foremost, we're gonna have Commander taking on Hologram. Hologram recently, making his way in AEW a couple of months ago. Not like a couple of months ago. I would say like a month and a half ago. People had speculations that it was Ricochet. Obviously, I knew it wasn't, not that I'm saying I'm like, oh, I know everything. I'm the wrestling laureate. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding. No, I know a lot of wrestling. I watch a lot of wrestling. And something that AEW does definitely better than a lot of its competition is, introduce some of these new luchadors. You know what I mean? You had the Lucha Brothers as well. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. They're heading off to WWE, essentially. It feels like every single time they're in the news, kind of banging back and forth between WWE and AEW to find out, dude, are you guys honestly going to make a debut or not? You know what I mean? I know WWE hasn't really had the greatest track record of promoting, Latino luchador kind of style wrestlers. Obviously back in the day with the Vince McMahon era, you kind of had them, exploited, a little stereotypically, you know what I mean? Like the Mexicools, with the super crazy psychosis. That was a little bad. That was, kind of crazy. But, obviously it's a new day and age of professional wrestling. So hopefully, if the Lucha Brothers do land up on WWE Raw, SmackDown, or NXT, they're gonna be great. They're gonna be great. All right. Also, we have Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Willow Nightingale. Winner gets a AEW Women's World Championship match at Wrestle Dream. I would love to see. Man, who would I love to see? Um, the AEW World Women's Champion fight. Oh my God, Mariah May. I feel like at this point it would be kind of poetic justice to have Willow Nightingale. I think she's great. Oh man, this would be a good match. It'd be kind of cool if this match ends up in the draw, so you have a triple threat match. It'd be pretty badass, but that's probably not going to happen. Um, Damn, Britt Baker did recently have a shot at Mercedes Mone. You know what? Let's go with Britt Baker. I feel like ever since she came back to AEW, like it's been very back and forth. And once again, I'm not trying to get into the politics of why Mercedes Mone is still the TBS champion. I ultimately feel like it would have been better for Mercedes, also better for Britt Baker to kind of lose the title. I feel like it would have been best for her to drop the belt to Britt Baker, because the way the fans reacted to her return was huge. It was very, it was exciting. It was very exciting. And she needs a belt. She does need a belt. But Mariah May right now, she's good. I'm not trying to crap or throw shade at her at all. But, it's not like a Tony Storm kind of reign. Like, you know what I mean? She was hoping that Mina Shirakawa would kind of be by her side, but ultimately Nina is still kind of playing that like that dumb, naive, kind of, connoisseur, kind of the sidekick that, I don't really want to be a part of this, but Mariah May is kind of dragging me into it. I ultimately, if Mina Shirakawa was going to be part of this new partnership with the AEW World Women's Championship. They right off the bat, they absolutely just kicked the heck out of damn it, who did she fight last week on Dynamite for the title? Oh, I can't think of her. Damn it. Kazaki, I think it was. But I don't know. I think if Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May have to make this work, you're probably gonna have her kind of interfere at Wrestle Dream in some kind of way. But I would love to see a title reign by Britt Baker. Mercedes Moné. Speaking of Mercedes Moné, is taking on Emi Sakura for the TBS Championship and the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. Obviously Mercedes Moné is going to get the win, and once again, not trying to create conspiracy theories of how Tony Khan is obsessed with Mercedes Moné or if it was in her contract. Obviously she does have creative control of her own contract. It's not like, and Mercedes Moné newly single. Maybe Tony Khan's like, you know what? I'm just kidding. No. Not throwing that out there. Not throwing that out there. So let's focus on professional wrestling, not what could happen, what could not have happened. Maybe Tony Khan's leaving roses in her locker room. I'm just kidding. No, just kidding. No, that was the last time I was going to mention that. All right. But overall, Mercedes Moné is going to win. Not really much of a surprise, which kind of sucks. Kind of crappy. You know what I mean? That Mercedes Moné got, she got signed to AEW to ultimately kind of be like, kind of be in that EVP kind of status where she could, where essentially she gets to pick her own storyline. She gets to pick who she loses to. She's won every single time she's been in a title bout. And, at this point, I love Mercedes Moné as a heel. As a heel, absolutely. I think it's cool. As a babyface, it was terrible. I hated how AEW tried to do that. I love that they switched her. I thought that was actually pretty badass. But and she's not going to lose the belt to Amina Sakura at Wrestle Dream. She will probably lose. Well, I don't know who's going to probably be the next one to kind of dethrone her. I would honestly love to see Willow Nightingale get another shot at Mercedes Moné, but I don't know. It's very up in the air, very up in the air because once again there's that creative control that Mercedes Moné has. Obviously, and I hate to compare apples to oranges here. You had Hollywood Hulk Hogan in WCW having that same kind of control, and ultimately, like if you don't let the writers do their job, that's like if if Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. had a creative clause inside as the character Iron Man, and like the end of Avengers Endgame, he was like, you know what? Guess what, dude? I'm not dying in Endgame. I'm not snapping my fingers. I'm not going to kill Thanos, dude. I want my character to live. I want it to live. Like, and then at the end of the day, you're like, you know what? Like, Tony Stark, Iron Man kind of had to die. It made a lot of sense because throughout, like, the Marvel Universe, I don't know if any of you guys are Marvel fans. You had, the first Marvel movie where Captain Rogers and Tony Stark were kind of going at it. Captain Rogers, put him on blast. It was like, you know what? You're not the one to kind of take the sacrifice. You're not willing to die for somebody else. You're selfish, essentially. And then Tony Stark was like, how would I rather just cut the rope? And he was like, you know what, Tony? There's always a way, to kind of weasel out of it. And of course, obviously, at the end of the movie, he was able to, kind of have that nuke on his back and throw it into that wormhole and almost die. But I don't know. That's, kind of the same way of creative control. Like, I know comparing movies to professional wrestling is a little far-fetched. I'm not going to lie. But it's entertainment. It is entertainment at the same time. Mercedes Moné, even during her time with WWE was, in the locker room, she was, she was disliked because of her ego. Obviously, Saraya from, she was Paige in WWE you kind of said not a lot of people got along with her. Now she's coming to AEW events. She has her own locker room. She's bringing her own posse. This company is essentially, kind of hers. And, it's, once again, Tony Khan, love the guy. And, according to a lot of wrestlers, they don't have a lot of bad things to talk about Tony Khan because he's a great guy. He supports, family relationships within the wrestling industry, which is obviously is completely opposite of what Vince McMahon done. But he's too nice. He's too nice. You can't separate business from pleasure. sometimes you don't want to be the bad guy. And, in professional wrestling, there's a lot of wrestlers that have their ego, they have their wants, they have their needs. They also have a lot of things that they want to, that they feel like themselves could accomplish, through their own tenure within, performing inside of a wrestling ring. It's, and I can relate to that. And I feel like that's the reason why at the same time, I do scrutinize Tony Khan to a certain extent, but I do kind of back him up. You know what I mean? If I was a boss, and I was a shift manager at a restaurant. It's hard to be the bad guy. It's hard to tell somebody that they're like, you know what, I want this and that and the other to happen, but then you have to be the guy, be like, you have to do this and that and the other. I'm sorry, but it's just how it goes. And then they have an attitude and they walk away, and they are amazing workers. They're amazing workers, and sometimes you have to say goodbye and be like, guess what? Like, you're fired. You know what I mean? But then sometimes you're like, you know what? They're too good. You can't let them walk out. They're going to cause, they're going to be very successful for the company. And like Mercedes Mone has the potential to kind of be like that. But if this is some kind of a way behind the scenes of Mercedes Mone kind of manipulating Tony Khan, it sucks. I think that would suck. Mercedes Mone shouldn't be a double champion. She shouldn't. I think it's bad for the company. So I would love to see her lose one of those titles, preferably, probably the TBS Championship, but that's just me. All right, lastly, we have Bryan Danielson and Wheeler Yuta, the former members of the Blackpool Combat Club, taking on members of the newly formed Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio Castagnoli and Pac, the Trios champion. This is, I believe, this is the first time you've ever seen the Trios champion kind of split up here. Would be interesting to find out if Bryan Danielson and Wheeler Yuta, find a third opponent. Maybe they kind of find a way to challenge. Then Claudio Castagnoli and Pac pick up Jon Moxley, and they, kind of dethrone those trios championship, because I feel like they'd be better, kind of a little bit more up in the air, as opposed to like having a stronghold by Castagnoli and Pac. So I don't know, but it should be pretty interesting. All right, guys, once again, rapidly running out of time here. We're going to talk about The Rock's return at WWE Bad Blood, a couple of future storylines, what he should do for WWE success, what he shouldn't do. So, grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and, stay tuned. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show. Love you guys. Absolutely 1,010%. It's your favorite wrestling fan, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling, all the action inside and out. We talk about backstage curtain drama. We have to talk about superstar news and active statuses, injury updates, also contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings for promotions from WWE to TNA to Ring of Honor to New Japan Professional Wrestling to Stardom to the GCW to the National Wrestling Alliance to the CMLL. If it makes major news, wrestling headlines, we talk about it here on this show 1,010%. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about our next segment. We got The Rock. The Rock recently returning at WWE Bad Blood, absolutely shocking the WWE Universe. It got to the point where it was like, you know what? Jey Uso returned. I was like, damn, that's awesome. I feel like WWE, it's did its tenure, created a lot of surprise, created a lot of, future storylines with a lot of this promo, with a lot of the match, especially what happened after. And it was like, oh, it's over. That's so cool that happened. And all of a sudden, and I was like, oh, like it was pretty great. It was exactly the right time for The Rock to return, heading into WWE Survivor Series, having a lot of obligations to what is going to happen with this bloodline civil war. It should be pretty badass. Not a lot of people think that, this means anything, and that's shocking. Around the world of professional wrestling and news media is like, you know what, The Rock showed up doesn't necessarily mean he's going to join the bloodline. You know, in in a post on social media, you saw a fan recording Solo Sikoa, talking to Jacob Fatu, his enforcer, saying that this is all part of the plan. This is all part of the plan. Are you going to see The Rock take his place? Kind of as the king, kind of as the tribal chief over, under Solo Sikoa. Will he? There's just a lot of speculations. Or more or less, do you kind of see him being opposite? Like, do you see him, kind of talking to Roman Reigns? He's like, you know what? I'm going to lead this new bloodline. I'm going to take the reins as the tribal chief. You, Jimmy, Cody, whoever you want to bring along could be part of this crew. But I'm going to take Solo Sikoa down, and I'm going to assert myself in this, tribal chief, circle, which is possibility. You still have, you still have Lance Anoa'i, all one, you have Zila Fatu, also Hikuleo, also Journey as well. Still kind of out there. He's been, reported missing. But once again, and I'm not trying to sound insensitive, but WWE has done a really good job of incorporating social media, news media to kind of, damn it, what's the word? Damn it, have on their side. And oh my God, to kind of be a way for them to kind of manipulate it to the point where they're like, all right, like look what happened with NXT, with Brooks Jensen, being rageful. His wife posted on social media and TikTok crying, saying, "Have you seen my husband? He's been gone for so long," only to find out it was just part of the storyline. Like, you know what I mean? It's maybe that could possibly be a way for Journey to return. Rikishi Fatu said in a podcast that Journey and Lance are ready to debut. They're ready. Zila he's almost there. He said he needs a year. He needs a year or a couple of months at tops. You know what I mean? You'd never really want to debut on a wrestling brand and absolutely suck because, you're going to become scrutinized. People are going to see what's going on. Obviously, the greatest example that you could possibly use as this kind of could backfire is what you're seeing with Tongaloa. What you're seeing with Tongaloa in terms of the bloodline, botching moves over and over again. And I know botching does happen. This is entertainment. This is live performance. It's hard. And I'm not going out there being like, you know what? I can do it. What an idiot. This guy sucks. Get him off my screen. This guy doesn't deserve. Like, I'm not trying to say that. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to say that. And it sucks that somebody, and I use the word inexperience. And I use the word inexperienced because it's not like Tongaloa is inexperienced. Obviously, he's done a lot of success inside the independent circuit. I'm not trying to dog on that. I'm not trying to throw shade at that whatsoever. But WWE, when you go to the main, like when you go to the mecca of professional wrestling, there's some sort of professionalism. There's some sort of, level that you're supposed to, like, I don't know. And like I said, Tongaloa is a professional. Like, he's well known all over the world. No one can take that away from him. He's successful as hell. He's a great wrestler. I'm not trying to say he's bad. I'm not trying to say he's bad. But under the umbrella of WWE, it's kind of like you kind of have to be a little better. Like, you know what I mean? You kind of have to. This is the major leagues, boy. Kind of come up and swing that bat. Sometimes minor league hitters come up to the Major League Baseball and, they can't perform. But once again, Tongaloa, I think he's great. It's going to be interesting to find out who he decides to recruit with this new bloodline. If The Rock kind of goes into that, kind of new role as the new tribal chief, telling Roman right straight up, being like, you know what, I don't want anything to do with you. I'm really sick that you teamed up with the competition with Cody Rhodes, and I'm going to start my own bloodline. All right, next, potential storyline is, what if he doesn't lead any bloodline? What if he's just fed up with the whole family? He just goes out there. He doesn't really choose a side. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go out there and try to pursue Cody Rhodes for a championship match, which is possible. It could happen. I can imagine him challenging Cody Rhodes at a Royal Rumble or something like that. Or he would, kind of introduce himself inside the Royal Rumble, where the last four guys you see inside that ring is Solo Sikoa, Roman Reigns, The Rock, and probably somebody random like John Cena or CM Punk, maybe even CM Punk. Then like it's like, all right, who's going to challenge for the championship? Then they kind of have this like, this bloodline, like, who's better to kind of go after it and stuff like that. Obviously, The Rock would probably feel like his claim is you know, kind of a little bit more better, I guess. But it should be, I don't know. I feel like The Rock is going to enter the Royal Rumble. He's committed to WWE, obviously, after filming his movie. He brings a lot to the creative, kind of storytelling of what WWE really has to offer. There was no doubt in my mind that he was definitely behind a lot of what you saw after WWE Bad Blood, with Kevin Owens attacking the WWE Undisputed Champion Cody Rhodes and turning heel. Well, not really turning heel, but kind of turning heel. Reminded me of when the final boss was trying to take down Cody Rhodes before WrestleMania Night 1 and WrestleMania Night 2 of of this year. But I don't know. It's very possible, very very possible. The Rock could possibly insert his way into the Royal Rumble, and I feel like it would be great for WWE to kind of have that. Because right now, if you're looking at who's on the SmackDown roster, who's on the Raw roster, is there anybody who hasn't had a chance at the title already? Capable of winning the Royal Rumble. Like, I love myself some Sami Zayn, but come on, like, Sami Zayn would be like, Mick Foley winning the Royal Rumble. Like, sure, it would be cool. Sure, you would have that, exciting, shocking factor, babyface factor that could possibly go into it. But at the same time, whenever Sami Zayn holds a belt, a lot of people just look at it and he's like, when is he going to lose? Like, when is he going to lose it? Like, you know what I mean? When he won the Intercontinental Championship away from Gunther, the moment I saw him, I was like, all right, he's going to have a decent reign, but who's next? Like, who's next? And it should be kind of crazy to kind of find out what's happening next. Next, we have The Rock in a match on the WWE Raw's Netflix debut. He has not recently or reportedly been confirmed for WWE SmackDown. Roman Reigns will mostly probably talk about what happened. But The Rock has not been confirmed on WWE SmackDown, which kind of holds a lot of not really a lot of baggage, because I feel like The Rock, I want him to be part of Survivor Series, but at this point, uh, you know, I don't really see him kind of doing so, because you kind of have Solo's team. You have Solo, you have Jacob, you have the Tamataga, Tangaloa, and then they just need one more guy. And Hikuleo is already, on the roster. It wouldn't surprise me if he's the fifth guy. And Roman Reigns can go out there, he can go across to WWE Raw and look at Jey Uso straight in the face and be like, look, dude, whatever happened, I apologize, but we need you. And then Jimmy Uso obviously looks his brother dead in the eye and was like, you know what? Yeah, we need you, Us. So we have three guys right there. You have three guys. They bring back Sami Zayn, and they just need one more guy. And maybe perhaps it could be Zila. Like, we're not too sure. As of right now, after The Rock kind of came out, and the way he came out was with such, and you could just kind of see in his face, like, he was disgusted. He was absolutely disgusted to find Roman Reigns teaming up with Cody Rhodes to fight a wild and out Solo Sikoa, which wouldn't surprise me about the storyline of him, kind of like trying to be that guy to be like, you know what? I have to restore order in our family because we're a freaking mess. We're an embarrassment. People are watching Raw and they're like, how could these guys be the family that runs WWE? The Inois, the Maiavias, the Usos, the Fatus. Like, it's personal with The Rock. So it should be interesting to find out, what happens, what happens with him next. Some people speculate that altogether The Rock is going to be, kind of, bouncing in and out of the bloodline drama, but most importantly, fighting Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41. With what you saw at Seth Rollins, kind of disrespecting CM Punk, I don't think it's much of a surprise if you would see Seth Rollins reclaim the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and, being the champion at WrestleMania 41, and then he challenges CM Punk, or CM Punk challenges him. Bam, that's taking care of that. So who's going to be the Royal Rumble winner? As of right now, there's a lot of names that could possibly pop up. Roman Reigns taking on Cody Rhodes like a poetic justice kind of thing. You had everybody supporting Cody's story at WrestleMania 40. Next year, just a mere year later, people are rooting for the original Tribal Chief to reclaim his spot as the head of the table, the WWE champion, and the Tribal Chief. Uh, there's a lot of possible storylines, and I feel like I feel like that's pretty badass. I feel like that's pretty cool what WWE is doing right now, especially with The Rock coming back at Bad Blood. Obviously, like I said, I'm not too sure if Roman Reigns. Well, Roman Reigns is confirmed for the next SmackDown. I know that for sure, but I don't think The Rock is. All right, and also we could have The Rock taking on Roman. You know what I mean? What if The Rock, he said to Cody Rhodes the night after WrestleMania 40, after Cody Rhodes finished the story, saying that our story is far from over between me and you. I respected your father, Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, but our plans are, they're just starting. So that could possibly be, a segue into what could happen at WrestleMania 41 or 42. But The Rock and Roman Reigns right now, the way he came out with Bad Blood, like I said, he just looked like he was ready to pounce on anybody of the bloodline. It didn't really seem like he chose a side. And it's that classic case of when he came out, Solo Sikoa was like, "Oh, he's on our side. He's on our side." But at the same time, The Rock could be like, "You know what? No, I'm not. What you've done is terrible. You're not successful. You're not a successful single superstar. You defeated John Cena like 2 years ago. That's probably the highlight of your career. You don't deserve this. The follow. They follow. I think it is the little chilies that they put around their neck. But we could have a Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas, which would be a bombshell. I feel like that'd be pretty damn badass. That'd be pretty cool. Or perhaps you have a triple threat match for the WWE Championship, The Rock and Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. You have both tribal chiefs from both angles. Roman Reigns would be highly favored in that match. Cody Rhodes would be, he'd be a little favored. He'd be a little favored. The Rock would absolutely be that heel that people would favor. It would just be so up in the air. I would have no idea of who would win this match. The unpredictability of WWE, blurring the lines of fiction and reality, not really knowing what the next step is going to be. Whoever wins this match is obviously going to usher in a new era of WWE, and I'm for it. I feel like it'd be absolutely great to see these three guys go at it in a triple threat match. All right, guys. So do not go anywhere. We're going to wrap this show up. We got my boy Emran's GSMC Soccer Podcast starting in 21 minutes. So now we're going to talk about our Tuesdays today in wrestling history. So, hey, grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here. So do not go anywhere. All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling, all the action inside and out. We also talk about superstar news, inactive statuses, injury updates, contract negotiations, extensions, signings for promotions from WWE to AEW to TNA to Ring of Honor, New Japan Professional Wrestling to the GCW to the National Wrestling Alliance to the CMLL. If it makes major news, wrestling headlines, if it makes major news in the wrestling business, we talk about it here on this show 1010%. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. Your opinions obviously are very, very appreciated. Obviously, there are no wrong answers. So, yeah, don't be shy to go ahead and drop inside that chat. It's kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. And, make sure you check out some of these videos on YouTube as well on the GSMC Sports Network and the GSMC Podcasting Network. We're going to, I talked about some WWE Monday Night Raw, gave my review about that. Gave my, was talking a little bit about WWE NXT in St. Louis. Talked about AEW Dynamite Title Tuesday. Also talked about The Rock rejoining WWE, talking about the Bloodline, talking about future storylines heading into the WrestleMania 41, Survivor Series, the Royal Rumble. So make sure you catch that. And, now we're going to talk about some Tuesdays today in wrestling history. All right, guys. So, you're going to jump into my DeLorean here. Make sure you guys, click your seatbelts, with, click it or ticket here in the state of California. We're going to get you for that. So we're going to gun my DeLorean to 88 miles per hour, Marty. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a huge Back to the Future kind of dork. So, gotta love it when you can bring up a Doc Brown reference. So we're going to talk about Tuesdays today in wrestling history on October 8th. On this day, we're going to go back in time, talk about some of the cool stuff. But first and foremost, we have a couple of notable birthdays today, a couple of birthday boys. Happy birthday. I'm just kidding. No, we're not going to do that. We have Art Barr, who was born in 1966. Paul Burchill back in 1976. I remember back in 2006 when he was the Pirate, and then he tried to coagulate with William Regal. Didn't really work out. But I heard he's doing really good in the independent wrestling circuit right now. I think he's on the NWA. I think he's on the National Wrestling Alliance. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure though. I'm on the fence there. And of course, we have awesome. We have The Miz. The Miz, born in 1980, starting off in MTV's The Real World to WWE. Obviously, huge round of applause for turning your back on R-Truth, your only friend. I'm just kidding, no. I gotta give The Miz his awesome birthday wishes. Hope him and Maurice and the baby are having an amazing, birthday. Hope you guys are having a great dinner. Why did you have to turn on R-Truth? I'm just kidding. No. It was for the best. It was for the best that The Miz, he's still in his prime. Maybe if he was like 5 to 10 years older, maybe him joining some silly tag team with R-Truth, the Awesome Truth, would kind of be idealistic. But as of right now, he still has a lot left in the tank. Immediately he joins the Intercontinental Championship fray. He could very much challenge Jey Uso and win the title. And I wouldn't be shocked. There would be no shocks if The Miz regains the WWE Intercontinental Championship, because obviously he's been a prestigious champion. He's the one who put the Intercontinental Championship on the belt, especially during the 2000s to the 2000. I gotta be honest, 2000 10s to 2018. No, he was still even great back then. It's during the day and age of 2010s and early 2020s, he was the guy. He was the guy for the Intercontinental Champion. I love how WWE pushed Braun Breaker. I feel like they did kind of push him too soon, because now, he lost the championship after gaining it so fast, to now us as the WWE Universe, we kind of look at it, they're like, all right, so is Braun Breaker kind of owed another shot? And maybe that's the way we shouldn't really, kind of jump into it. But overall, I feel like if The Miz jumps back into the WWE Intercontinental picture frame there, I would love it. I would love it 1,010%. Or have him on SmackDown. My God, he'd be pretty cool. But overall, you had that promo, that glitch from the Wyatt Six during the Miz's confrontation with R-Truth in the back. Obviously supported by Karrion Kross. We're possibly going to see a Wyatt family or the Wyatt Six going toe to toe with the Miz and the Final Testament, which would be pretty badass as well. But we're here to talk about Tuesdays today in wrestling history. So yeah, let's talk about it. In 1991, the York Foundation, Richard Morton, Thomas Rich, and Terrence Taylor defeated Dustin Rhodes, Big Josh, and Tom Zenk to win the WCW Six-Man Championships. This was the last title change before the championship was abandoned the following month, which was kind of a huge mistake. Kind of seeing AEW, Ring of Honor, the Six-Man Championship, kind of have success from this. I feel like that was a huge mistake. I ultimately wanted WWE to kind of adapt to this strategy here of, being, saying, hey, it's okay if you want to, like you see the New Day, like you see the Final Testament, the Wyatt Six, American Made. There's so many factions out there who could be successful, trios champions. And I feel like that should be one of their next titles. I got to be honest, when I saw Triple H, Paul Levesque at WWE Bad Blood step into the ring, and then you saw an unveiled, when you saw a title unveiling, I got to be honest, I thought it was either the Women's Intercontinental or the Women's United States. I would have never in my 32 years of living thought it was going to be a crown jewel champion. So great. So great. Oh my God. So prestigious. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not trying to be a jerk. It's a cool title, very shiny. Oh God, I can't even fake it. I got to be honest. I can't even fake it to make it tonight. Like I hated it. I think it's cool. Ultimately you lost that with WWE Survivor Series where you had the two champions going head to head. You had the tag team champions and the world tag team champions going head to head. The WWE Women's Champion going head to head with the world champion. It's not the same anymore. Raw versus SmackDown is essentially dead. I don't, it's not the same, which kind of speculates on, do we really want to have this, have these two brands really happen? Like, you know what I mean? I know to a certain extent it's important. But you're seeing Randy Orton jump ship to Monday Night Raw. You know what I mean? Like, and it's all right. It's cool. And the storyline between the Bloodline, are you going to Solamente keep it on WWE SmackDown or Netflix to have WWE fans want it kind of on the USA Network? Like, I just don't think I don't know. I don't think it's idealistic here. I don't think it's pragmatic. I think we're heading toward a brand infusion here or fusion, but then with the USA title, the Intercontinental Championship, like I feel like the brand split works for those two titles, but in terms of the rest, the WWE Championship, you only have 3 guys on each brand that could probably be like, hey, their championship material on Raw. You have Gunther. You have Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre. At his old age, maybe CM Punk. Maybe. Just maybe. Braun Breaker, yeah, but no, he's still young. Still very much young. A lot of speculations in wrestling media thought that he was going to fight Gunther for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at Crown Jewel. Obviously, that's not the case. And then you got to think on SmackDown. Who could contend with Cody Rhodes? Roman Reigns. Right off the bat, you could think about it. Solo Sikoa, no. Sorry. Jacob Fatu, no. AJ Styles, he had his chance, but, no. Kevin Owens, we love him, but not WWE Championship material. Obviously, maybe his reputation is kind of, diminished or, is kind of like not blackballed, but kind of has a scar on it because of what happened with his WWE Universal Championship run, where he essentially lost every match. But, with interference with Chris Jericho, helping him win it, losing against Bill Goldberg. Oh, so bad. So bad. That title run was probably one of the worst in WWE history, which is exactly why Kevin Owens is probably a little bit, has this animosity holding over himself. But on SmackDown, I don't see anybody. I mean, just Roman and Cody. Of course, now you have The Rock, but The Rock only makes sense as the champion if he's associated with the bloodline. If he was like just the random Rock coming back to WWE, yeah, then he wins the title, you'd be like, all right, where does the storyline go from there? Sure, it'd be cool to kind of see the Great One, The Rock, the final boss, come back to win the championship. Honestly, I would hate to see him win the championship. I feel like that'd be terrible. Maybe WWE might find a way to kind of manipulate the storylines to kind of make it go that way. But as of right now, you have The Rock, who's he's so over. He's so over and he's so damn strong that it would just, you have somebody like Kevin Owens beat The Rock for the WWE Championship. Is that cool? You know what I mean? Or Cody Rhodes loses it just to kind of win it back. It'd be kind of like, what's the purpose of him losing it anyway? Roman Reigns defeating The Rock for the WWE Championship is obviously the only thing that makes sense. But once again, it's predictable. And for WWE or any wrestling promotion for that matter, to be successful, you have to be unpredictable. So at the same time, it's like, you know what? It's kind of, I don't know. So right now on SmackDown, it's kind of up in the air. Would be interesting to find out if anything really, comes about it. In 2006, WWE presented No Mercy at the RBC Center in Raleigh, North Carolina. In the main event, you saw King Booker retain the World Heavyweight Championship in a Fatal 4-Way match against Finlay, Bobby Lashley, and Batista. Also on the show, you saw MVP make his WWE debut with the win over enhancement talent Marty Garner. In 2007, you saw Hiroshi Tanahashi defeat Yuji Nagata to win the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. In 2017, WWE Hell in a Cell was live. It took place at the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. The main event saw Kevin Owens defeat Shane McMahon with a surprise assist from his rival Sami Zayn. The highlight of the event was the New Day losing their tag team titles to the Usos in a Hell in a Cell bout. The other title change of the night saw Baron Corbin win the United States Championship in a triple threat match against champion AJ Styles and Ty Dillinger. So a lot of great stuff, a lot of crazy stuff happened on this day, but not really too crazy. What happened with Baron Corbin? What's going to happen with Baron Corbin in the future? This tag team between him and Apollo it's cool, but he has potential to be a champion. I loved it when he came out as the lone wolf kind of thing. I thought that was pretty badass. Obviously, kind of thrown to hell when he had a little dispute with Vince McMahon and the higher ups, and Vince McMahon essentially buried the Golden Gloves winner Baron Corbin. So I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting to kind of see him, staple his name in the United States Championship. Kind of picture once again, kind of creating a little prestige in the United States Championship kind of division, which is not bad. And I know I just got done talking about how a lot of these superstars don't really match up to a lot of what the WWE champion really entails, what it needs for WWE to be successfully marketing their ticket sales, to put the butts in the seats, adding revenue, merchandise sales and stuff like that, marketing, so to speak. It's the champion marketable. You know what I mean? LA Knight he is. What's going to happen when Logan Paul is returning back to a WWE SmackDown in the future? So, a lot of things are up in the air in terms of WWE. Me, on the other hand, I'm excited to find out what happens. I just hope nothing dumb happens. You know what I mean? I just hope that, they do it well, they do it right. In the past, WWE has done a lot of things wrong, but as a company, we still love them heading into this Triple H Paul Levesque era. So, we can't bail on our boys here. Can't bail on our boys. All right, guys. So, hey, that's it for me. Hope you guys had an amazing time watching the show. Hope you guys had an amazing Monday and Tuesday. Oh, yeah, my man Logan James in the mix. What's up, Logan? Hope you're doing well tonight. Julia and Stephanie Vacure in NXT. I love women. Honestly, NXT is doing women wrestling probably better than AEW, Ring of Honor, TNA, WWE, SmackDown, or Raw. They're doing such a great job. They're doing such a great job. A lot of what they should probably kind of mimic. You have the WWE NXT Women's North American Championship, a mid-card belt that Raw and SmackDown could benefit from, having the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship and the WWE Women's United States Championship. I just feel like it'd be great. It'd be so great. And right now, kind of alluding to the point that Logan James is making, which I agree with 1,010%, that WWE NXT Women's Wrestling is just absolutely on a whole nother level. Can't really be matched. Can't really be matched in any way, shape, or form. So 1,010% got to give a shout out to Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, the CEO of NXT, obviously the general manager, Ava, as well, doing a great job. Absolutely such a great job on NXT. All right, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, bidding you farewell. Hoping you guys have an amazing night. Once again, follow us on Twitter /X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok for more content and updates. Superman Punch that, like a subscribe button to the show. Follow the network here, the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1,010% of the time. But of course, criticism happens in terms of sports. It's okay. It's okay. Feedback is a gift. So, make sure you guys chat, comment whenever you can. It's super cool. Super cool. All right. So, once again, if I have not made you a wrestling fan by now, we have football heating up in the NFL Week 6. Week 6, we got the GSMC Football Podcast with Kenneth. We got the Chip Shot Football Podcast with Manny. We also got fantasy sports. So if you're a fantasy goer, on football, find out your stardoms, your sit-ems, who to pick up off the waiver wire, maybe risking that dropping of a player and picking up another player. Sometimes the risk is worth the reward. We have Chris Shepard representing the GSMC with the GSMC Fantasy Sports Podcast. Make sure you tune into that. We got basketball starting in late October, so make sure you tune into Nelson's GSMC Basketball GSMC Basketball Podcast. A lot of WNBA, content surrounding that as well. Make sure you tune into that. We got all around sports with my man TJ with the GSMC Sports Podcast. We also have sports by GSMC by Jeremy. Make sure you tune into those shows as well. And of course, Saturdays are filled with a lot of shocking college football action. I'm trying to get into college football. Obviously I've been, keeping tabs on my man Tommy, the GSMC College Football Podcast. He's an amazing host. Definitely, if you're looking to get into some college football, if you're trying to dabble into it like me, make sure you tune into the GSMC College Football Podcast with my boy Tommy. He will show you, all the right ways to watch college football, maybe a couple of shockers. He has a lot of power rankings that could definitely help you, especially in terms of if you're doing fantasy for college as well. Got to give a shout out to my man right there. All right, guys. Once again, hope you guys had an amazing, beautiful Tuesday. It is Tuesday. Do not get discouraged. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Tomorrow is Hump Day. Now, hey, no, don't get too excited. Hump Day. My mom always told me, when you try to get over that hump of the week, then now it's all downhill from here Thursday and Friday. So don't be discouraged. We have a lot of professional wrestling during the week. Make sure you tune into that. Make sure you tune into all the other podcasts. You guys, once again, stay absolutely beautiful. But as always, love you.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit and